Okay, task 1 part 3 is all about manipulating local government area data in Excel and using it to create a choropleth map. So if you followed the link on the task document, you would have been able to download this Excel file which has data for all the local government areas in Victoria, and you can see here the data goes along for a long time. Most of it is not relevant, but you can go through it and find any bits that you find are useful. We're only going to focus on local government areas of Melbourne. So the first thing you'd want to do is select all of those in metropolitan zones. So we'll select the first row because it's the headings, and then let's start selecting all the ones that say metropolitan. I'm going to do the first 5, but you should do all of them, and copy them by pressing Ctrl+C or right clicking, and then paste them into a new spreadsheet here, and I'll just move that up so you can see it a bit better. Move that across. Okay, so here I've got a whole bunch of local government areas and a whole bunch of data. Now, as I said, not all of this is useful, so the next thing to do is to select the columns this time and select only the relevant data and copy that into a new spreadsheet again. So departmental regions probably useful, the area, maybe the distance to Melbourne, the land use here might be useful, and maybe the projected annual population change, and I would copy them and paste them into a new document as I've done here. So now we have to use this data to create a choropleth map. I'm going to, as my example, create one looking at the projected annum population change between 2012 and 2022. Now this is a fairly, maybe let's say very basic way to create a choropleth map. It's a little bit tedious, but it's probably a lot easier than some of the other methods. So all I'm going to do, Bayside has a projected population change of 0.96. I've put the population changes into 5 different classes. 0.96 is in the first class here, and if I go to Google Earth and I go to Bayside here, right click, I'm going to change the color, and I've already chosen a bunch of custom colors here. I'm going to make that my first color there, and I need to change the opacity to 100% so we can actually see it, and now Bayside's coloured in. The next one on my list is Boroondara, 0.99%, so it's still in that first class. I think that's about here. Properties, style colour, in the first category there, and I'll change the opacity to 100%. If you don't know where any of the areas are, you can of course use the search function. If you type them in there, it'll take you directly to the place. The next thing I want is, let's go to Cardinia, which is 4.61%, which is in my 5th class here. So if I go to Cardinia, which I already know is here because it's in green from the previous task, if I right click on that, properties, style colour, let's choose a darker version of this. So let's say it's there. Oops. I would make it a bit darker. And I'll change the opacity to 100%. And now we've got Cardinia coloured in dark. And you can, of course, I'll turn that off. You can, of course, understand that once you've got all of these coloured in, it's going to end up with a choropleth map. One other thing you should, of course, include is a legend. So to build a legend in Excel, if you've got these, if you create a simple table here, and you can colour in your cells here, right click, format cells, and you can choose the colours here, but if you want it to be completely accurate and use the same ones that you've used in Google Earth, you should go to custom and actually put in the numbers here. So for example, in Google Earth, for this particular colour, this one here, you've got the hue, the saturation, etc., the red, green, blue, all of those numbers. If you go then and type all of those numbers into Excel, so for example 248 249 and the red, green, blue 202, oops, 202 233 249. I wrote those down earlier, and you colour it in. There's the same colour that you're using in Google Earth. I've created a legend before. Here it is, and you can use your snipping tool or any other way that you normally capture images, and you just select that. I'm going to save this. Why isn't it working? And I'm going to save it to the desktop, and I'm going to call it Legend. And now in Google Earth, if I'll cancel that, I'll add an overlay image, this icon up here, and we're going to call it Legend. And if I browse, it should be in my desktop down here called Legend. That's huge. Obviously I don't want it that big. If you go to one of the corners and you press Shift, you can make it and drag it in, you can make it smaller. Make sure you press Shift as you drag it smaller so that it doesn't change the dimensions of it. And if you click in the middle, you can move it anywhere you like. And now we've got a legend there to go with our choropleth map.